nothing's off the table in this video. I don't know if it's healthy to have wine and toxic waste at the same time. If they're watching this and they know exactly what they've done, then hi, I see you. The only really drama that I guess was never resolved was the stuff with Rachel Marie. And I think, like, Gavin, like, why were you so mortified with Den of Vipers if you did this? But a lot of the people who were arguing with me, I can tell, most of them just wanted to lick the author's They wanted to lick the publisher's They just wanted to be absolute lickers. Sorry, I don't know why I got emotional. Hey everyone, welcome back to How to Train Your Gavin, and I am doing a bit of a special video today. I say special, I mean loads of people have done this kind of video before, so I thought what better way to celebrate 2 years on Booktube than doing exactly what I did last year, except with a little bit of a twist. So last year for my 1 year anniversary I did a Q&A again. This time I thought I would do the same thing because I'm so original, but I thought I would add in some wine. I mean, yeah, it's me, why not? But also, I got people to submit questions anonymously on Curious Cat, and I hadn't used that in like 10 years. But that meant that people could ask questions anonymously, and I know sometimes it can be a little bit daunting when somebody asks for questions for a Q&A, and you really want to ask something, but maybe you just don't really know how to ask something that's like really juicy. So the best way of doing it is to ask anonymously. So that's what I've done. I've collated quite a lot of questions that way, and for any questions that I do not answer or refuse to answer, I will have to have a toxic waste. If we all recall from the Bookathon Slumber Party live show I did with Lexi, we tasted some of these and they were absolutely vile. The most sour candy on earth, apparently. So for any questions I refuse to answer, I have to have one of these. So that is why I asked for really juicy questions, because, you know, it makes it a little bit more fun. We know this from my TBR game. I am a sucker for high stakes. I mean, it's a little bit silly, but again, it's me. I have cut out some repetitive questions and just like had the one broad question that kind of encompasses what other people asked at the same time. I've also cut out questions where the question just wasn't even about me, so I was like, okay, I've cut those out too. So I have split this video into 3 sections. We have bookish and random questions, and then I have booktube / drama questions, and then finally personal / NSFW questions, or not safe for work questions, because, you know, nothing's off the table in this video. As we all know, I have spoken quite open and honestly about myself in the past, especially in some very risque live shows, not gonna lie. Nothing is off limits. So let us start off with the bookish / random questions. I'm already fucking dreading this. What emoji do you use the most? Well, these ones are the ones I use the most. I can't really be bothered to check right now. I think it might be the laughy cryy face. I always use that just for anything. Might not even be the funniest thing in the world, but I'll just use it. Would you rather never read middle grade again or never say another man again? That's actually quite easy. Never say another man again. What a man can give me, I can just give myself. I mean, what is their purpose? Oh, yeah, okay, right. This is the one that I can't answer. Kiss, marry, kill. Jade, Becca, and Ashlee. I literally can't. I can't do that. I don't know if it's healthy to have wine and toxic waste at the same time. It does say consuming more than one piece at a time may cause irritation to mouth. Sensitive individuals should not consume this product. And as we all know, I'm a sensitive boy. This could go really wrong. This is why I do want to make sure that I answer all of the questions. But I am not answering that one. I love them all. There's not one of them I would kill. So let me just tuck into this. Just to make sure that you know it's definitely... I'm also gonna mute because it's not nice to hear me. So far so good. Wash it down with wine. Oh, that did not taste nice. Next question. If you could make out with one fictional character, who would you choose? The thing is, I don't really envision myself making out with any kind of fictional character. I don't really have like book boyfriends or anything, unless it's like the standard Sarah J Maas thing. There was one in a fairy loot box. There was this artwork of this like shirtless guy. Oh my god. Oh. Okay, who was he? Who drew that? I'm gonna have to put him away. Yeah, him. I would make out with him. Would you consider curating a special edition subscription box for OwlCrate Jr. or any other subscription service if you'd been offered the chance to do so? What would be in it? I mean, I would consider curating a special edition box. Oh, God. Drinking the wine is worse now I've had toxic waste in my mouth. Okay, so this is a really tough one. I can't think of a specific book I would have as a subscription box. However, I love props, and props from films, TV, so why not props from books? So I've had a few special edition, like OwlCrate Jr, I've had a couple now. I've had the Bridge of Souls and the Holopox boxes, and I love it when there's a prop from the book in the box, so it just feels like a lot more magical, like it came directly from that world. So I would have, I can't think of a specific book I would have for it, but whatever I picked, I would pick props from that book. I mean, that was very vague, but I can't think of anything specific right now. Who is the one book character you would want to play if they made a TV or movie adaptation? Who would it have been if you had the opportunity earlier in life? I mean, the thing is, I'm not a good actor. Let's be honest, I'm not a good actor. One thing I would absolutely love is doing voices. Like, that's the one I would prefer to do. I would prefer to be a voice actor rather than acting something. So if I could, I would do like Olaf or something from Frozen, or Elsa, you know. Oh man, that toxic waste has ruined the taste of this wine. But it would be a voice role in Frozen. That, of course. Of course. So I don't know, actually, no, I don't really know. Acting, I don't think I would be good at, so I've never really given that much thought. Which book do you wish you had written? There's a book series by She Who Must Not Be Named that has made her millions upon millions and billions of money. I mean, I would have loved to have been the writer of that series so we didn't have a transphobe at the helm. Yeah, that one. Which of your vices or bad habits would be the hardest to give up? Coffee. Honestly, the amount of coffee I consume daily. And I've been cutting down as well, and it's still a lot. I've already been to Starbucks 4 times, and I've literally been to work 2 days. So it's, yeah, that. What do you wish God would say when you eventually reach the pearly gates, and what do you think he would actually say as he looks back at your life? See, I don't think they would say anything if they watched my life. They would just be like, I feel like that's what they would be like. I don't think there would be any dialogue, and then I'd be sent straight to hell. Favourite type of self-care? My favourite type of self-care is going into the bath and coming out of it feeling all nice and clean and refreshed, putting on some fresh pyjamas or my hoodie, and putting on Frozen and Frozen 2 and All That's Frozen Adventure and Frozen Fever. Maybe a face mask as well. We all know I like to have a face mask on. And just like lie down with the fairy lights on and just chill, just absolutely chill, like no reading whatsoever. Like that isn't self-care for me. I feel like just watching a movie, like a comfort movie like Frozen, would be my self-care. Favourite Sarah J Maas book? I mean, A Court of Mist and Fury was one that I think I've rated the highest, but I would probably say maybe House of Earth and Blood. I really enjoyed that book. It wasn't perfect, but I really enjoyed it. And that was my first Sarah J Maas book, so it has a little special place in my heart. Jingle Bells. I have no idea what that means. If you were given £1 million to get rid of your favourite book and never have the chance to read it again, would you? Yes. Money. Give me the spiciest book recs. I don't really have any book recs that, you know, would be considered spicy. I barely read anything hot and steamy, which is, I guess, what this question is asking for. Den of Vipers, maybe, by K.A. Knight. I would recommend that with my whole heart. Have you ever lied and said you loved a book more than you did because you're friends with the author or because it's a popular book / a gifted copy? When I first started Booktube and somebody gifted me a book, I did feel obligated to give that book a positive review because I thought, oh, it was gifted to me, they spent money, you know, to give me a book, and if I don't like it, I'd feel awful. But obviously as time went on and I got more experience with Booktube, I knew that shouldn't be the case. So to get to the have you ever lied and said you loved a book more than you did because you're friends with the author, so I am so annoying for one, okay? With authors, I love their book first, and then I annoy them until they become friends with me. It's never the other way around. I've never been friends with an author first, and then read their book, and then loved the book. Well, loved the book, and, you know, pretended I loved it. I was always loving the book first, and then making friends with the author, because I'm annoying. I'm annoying as fuck. I don't know if you know this about me. I would tweet them. I mean, if they followed me back, I might slide into their DMs, but yeah, that was the natural progression. I would love the book first, and then become friends with the authors, not the the other way around. But then when I'm reading their sequels or any books in the future, I am biased, but that's usually because I love the first book that much. So yeah, the books always come before the authors. What's your favourite author interaction you've ever had? Now, my interviews with authors are always my most favouriteest interactions with authors ever. In person, I haven't really managed to do much in person in a while, but years and years and years ago, back in 2014, and I've mentioned this story so many times, but when I met Sarah J. Maas and I had tweeted her the night before and I was like, I'm so excited to meet Sarah J. Maas, and she had replied, and then when I met her in the bookshop when she was signing, she remembered me and she was talking about me and she gave me a hug and she was just so nice. I mean, I lied to her face because I'd never read any of her books at that point, but I was like, oh my gosh, like she's so nice and so amazing. I just want to make her happy, and you know what I mean? So I just wanted to kind of just be really nice to her. So I mean, I have since read her books now, okay, and I do actually love them, but at the time I was, yeah, but it was just the fact that she remembered me from Twitter, and this was back when she used Twitter as well. So it was just really special. Okay, so getting into the Booktube / drama related kind of segment of this Q&A, I will start talking more about Booktube. So, first question, favourite Booktuber? Well, I have many. I do have many. Of course, I have my friends. I don't want to name anybody because I don't want to leave anybody out. Oh man, and now if I don't answer, I'm going to have some toxic waste. And I don't want to have another one. I want to save them for the not safe for work segment. I have so many favourite booktubers, but I do not want to leave anybody out. So I'm just going to have a toxic waste. I'm sorry. I can't. I feel awful if I left somebody out. So I'd rather suffer than make someone feel left out. So here is the toxic waste going in my mouth. Okay. There we go. I know that was unnecessary, but it had to be done. I'm so glad I mute myself when I do that as well. Is there a former booktuber you really wish was still making content? One of the first booktubers I watched was Read by Zoe, and she hasn't really put anything out in quite some time now, actually. So I would absolutely love to see Read by Zoe come back. Is there a Booktube favourite book that you've read but didn't enjoy and didn't review? Every book I've read since joining Booktube, I've reviewed at some point on my channel. Maybe apart from the past few months because I haven't really been doing wrap-ups. A Booktube favourite book. Usually I quite enjoy them. I know, like, just off the top of my head, Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, I really enjoyed. So, I mean, no. Like, to answer the question, no, I've never read a Booktube favourite book and never reviewed it. But there are, like, Booktube favourite books that I've read and not enjoyed. Like The Cruel Prince, I didn't really enjoy that. What else? I don't know what else. Maybe, like, Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera, I don't really enjoy their books, and they were a big thing on Booktube, and I wasn't there for it. That's kind of answering the question. Have you ever cheated in Play or TBR game? No, I have not, and I detest the accusation. With the TBR game, why mine are always kind of long is because I don't edit out when I've set the cards out and I'm contemplating going higher or lower. I don't cut it down because I feel like if I do cut it down and edit it, that people would think that I've just looked at the card, put it back, and just gone on with my life and just, like, predicted correctly. I keep it all in. I do zoom in and zoom out so that you can see the cards better when I turn them round. Or if I've got a funny reaction, I might zoom in on my face. But I don't edit out. So as soon as those cards have been shuffled and turned, I don't cheat. I don't look at them. I don't think, okay, I'm going to do it again. Because if I did that, I would never lose. But there's so many that I've lost over this nearly a year since I started that game. So many I lost that I genuinely did not want to read. Like Infinity Sun, Infinity Reaper. I'm reading that this month and I did not want to read that. So no, I do not cheat on that. I can say that 100%. I do not cheat. Okay, spill the tea. Who's an author you've had beef with? Well... God, how do I talk about this? There's a few, only because I can't really stay quiet on Twitter sometimes. Cast your minds back to December 2020, when I make a Worst Books of 2020 video, and it's filled with young adult and adult books, but for some strange reason I have, you know, the children's book community on my ass about it. But it was instigated, and I know this for a fact, it was instigated by a picture book author called Catherine Emmett. I say I know this because I was doing some, like, Sherlock Holmes type shit, and I was looking at subtweets that were directly before I started to get direct responses from authors who had no clue what the hell they were talking about. I had no idea who they were. Well, some of them I kind of did, but like I didn't follow them. I wasn't sure who they were, and they wouldn't have known me. This particular author did a subtweet about me 9 minutes after I posted my video on Twitter, and I know they had not watched the video because, you know, 9 minutes. And also, I wasn't following them, and they weren't following me, and we had met briefly beforehand, and it was not the nicest of interactions. And I mean in person, we met in person, and it wasn't the nicest of interactions. So, I don't know why, but it seems like they had this kind of vendetta out against me for the longest time. Finally, they can jump on me and instigate this pylon. So, yeah, she subtweeted me, and then I started to have direct responses from other authors who were good friends with Catherine. And then Catherine, to make things worse, she would reply to those said authors who were directly at me and replying to my tweet, and she was using the exact same phrasing she used in her subtweet about me. So that's how I connected the dots. That's how I knew it was about me. It all spiraled from there, so I'll talk about that a little bit later on. So yeah, that's who I've had beef with. Why did you really leave Twitter? Okay, so if you do not know, I recently left Twitter. My page is still there, but I haven't deleted it. I won't delete it because I have a lot of connections on Twitter, like with publishers and publicists and really important people in the publishing community. I haven't given that up. So, but I just don't use it. I'm not going on it. I've deleted it from my phone. And mainly why I did that was because I was looking at my screen time, and I spent, I think it was the Monday before, I spent 20 hours on my phone, and 8 hours of that was on Twitter. And I looked at that and it gave me a shock because I was like, well, what did I actually achieve when I was on Twitter? What did I do? What did I take from that other than feeling like just like generally anxious about being on that platform? What did I take from it? Absolutely nothing. So that was when I decided to make the decision of just, you know what, I'm going to leave Twitter. I'm not going to go on it. The page is still there, but I'm not going to use it. I connected my Instagram, which is going to be the social media that I use the most of. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, I've got the link down below. But that is where I'm mainly going to be using. But I have connected to my Twitter so that people who don't have Instagram will still be able to see. And that was a really good recommendation from somebody on Twitter. Said, oh, I don't have Instagram. Can you connect it so that I can still see your posts? So thank you so much for suggesting that. But also, partly, I fell out of love with Twitter back in December when all of that crap was going off, because I hate rehashing like drama that's like stale. Like it's stale drama. It's not even like drama anymore. It's just like, oh my god, Gavin, get over it. But there was like a lot of not just authors, but people in the children's book community, and not all of them. Like I do want to say, not all of them were horrible or like horrible to me. And there's so many great people in the children's book community and in the bloggers and booktubers community and all of that. There are, but I got the brunt of it from people who made me feel ostracized from that community. Like I didn't feel like safe enough to post anything about middle grade on Twitter by January because of people telling me like how awful a person I was or how vile a person I was just for posting a video that didn't even have anything to do with middle grade. So the thing I was having with the children's book bloggers when I was arguing with them was that they don't publish negative reviews. And that's fine if you don't want to do that. They were purposefully saying like, oh, if there's things I don't like about a book, I just won't mention it. And like, I should do the same thing because I'm being cruel and unkind if I don't do that. And like, I mean, one, don't tell me how to review. But two, isn't that like lying to your audience? Because if you are telling people every single book you read is incredible and amazing, how are people supposed to get a genuine recommendation from you? And I don't trust people who don't post a negative review. I mean, it's fair enough if that's you're curating your own space and you want everything to be sunshine and daisies, but a lot of the people who were arguing with me, I can just tell, I mean, I've been following a few of them for a while, I can tell most of them just wanted to lick the author's arse. They wanted to lick the publisher's arse. They just wanted to be absolute arse lickers. And I don't mean everyone, again, I don't mean everyone in the children's book community. I don't know if this will get me in trouble or anything, but a lot of them just wanted to lick the author's arse. And I'm not about that, but like because they were telling me that I was reviewing in a way that wasn't exactly accepted in the children's book community world, it just made me feel like I shouldn't be part of that community. So ever since December, that's when I felt really detached from Twitter. But even when that happened in December, I didn't tag any authors in positive videos anymore. I just I didn't feel safe enough to do that. I just felt like there was constantly going to be somebody who would criticize me or give me grief for reviewing the way I review, you know? And like, my main reason for being on here is to give you honest and genuine reactions to books, and that's all I should be doing. I should not be lying to you or covering up some of the problems of a book just because, you know, the author's feelings might get hurt. Like, I don't give a shit. If the book has problems, I'm gonna say what those problems are, and if I have any, you know, personal things that I didn't like about a book, I will also say why I didn't like the book. I don't care about other bloggers or booktubers who think that I am doing a disservice to the entire children's book community because I do that. Like, I don't care. Like, we are adults, but apparently a lot of people weren't. It just felt like such a toxic community. So yeah, it wasn't even just authors who came at me, it was other bloggers, and they just made me feel so unwelcome. So I haven't been in a good relationship with Twitter since then, I'm afraid. Have you ever had any drama with another booktuber? When I've had issues with people in the past, I've been rather direct about it and we've resolved it. So bringing it up wouldn't be the best thing for me to do. So I'm not going to. And usually it's been like misunderstandings, really, to be honest. So it's kind of like being brushed aside. The only really drama that I guess was never resolved was the stuff with Rachel Marie, and I hate bringing up her name after so long. I just want to move on from it all, and I feel like everybody else does as well. But that was mainly kind of an after the fact thing, because as like a lot of people know, Rachel Marie left everything when she was called out last year, and like there was no resolution to anything. So with Rachel Marie, I just felt constantly like I had a target on my back with her, because I was like a newer booktuber and she had already been established for about a year. When I came along, well, she didn't want anything to do with me to begin with, but then I was like starting to make good friends with her friends, and then that's when she started to want to have anything to do with me, was when I was starting to like gain. I cut ties with her a little before she decided to leave everything. Then nothing was resolved. Like, there was like little things that she had done over the kind of year and a half that I knew her, and it was mainly things that to make me uncomfortable, and it felt like I had this target on my back because she made me feel awful for kind of overtaking her in subscribers. It wasn't too long before she deleted everything when I'd sent her a DM and I was like, look, I don't want anything to do with you anymore. You've made me feel this way for such a long time. And then if anybody has ever had a problem with me, I'd hope they'd tell me about it, but I don't think they have. Were there any booktubers that were bitchy to you when you first joined? Yes, I didn't always feel welcome. Going back to Rachel Marie for just a second, and she made me feel so unwelcome as well, is because she would tell me things that people had said maybe behind my back, or that maybe somebody felt a certain way about me because they felt like I'd swanned into Booktube and replaced them. Like, Booktube isn't big enough for everyone, and it made me very self-conscious. It made me question a lot of interactions I would have on Booktube and whether I should be there at all. Like, I'm so sorry for like stepping on people's toes for joining. Like, I'm so sorry about that. I don't mean to replace anyone. I didn't intentionally want to replace anyone. I feel so like bad about that. And not just that. Okay, so I'm not going to name names because this was not mentioned. Like, nobody asked me for any names. However, there is somebody currently who is rather bitchy, and I can tell. Again, another reason why I left Twitter is because of subtweets. Somebody who, again, I feel like I might have stepped on their toes by joining, has subtweeted me in the past, and it's usually not long after I've tweeted something or announced something, let's just say. You know, that's too vague. Okay, so when I announced my readathon, Believathon, the third round, I mentioned merch, and I mentioned like candles and like a little book that you can buy, and you know, things like that. And not long after that announcement video went up, somebody subtweeted and said, is anybody else really uncomfortable about the fact that readathons have merch? And obviously that could be about anything, right? Could be about anything. If anybody does feel like that, then honestly that's fine. But this person, we know of each other. We follow each other. Then what I've noticed as well is that I would post a video and then they will post a similar video a couple of weeks later. What's the word? They take the mick out of me. They ridicule me in videos. So I posted a very specific video last year, and a couple of weeks later they posted their own and said things in that video that ridicules me. Not just that, okay, so I noticed it, but I just thought, oh, maybe I'm just overthinking this. Then a couple of months later, again, I posted a very specific video, and they posted their own a couple of weeks later again, and for the first minute and a half of that video, they sit there and again, they ridicule me. Again, I'm not going to name names, and if they're watching this and they know exactly what they've done, then hi, I see you. So to begin with, like with that subtweet about the readathon stuff, I mean, that's fine, that could have been about anything. However, now I've connected the dots, and they've actually ridiculed me in videos. That is when I knew that they were being bitchy about me. So if they think I didn't notice... Have you ever wanted to quit Booktube, and why? Yes, I have, and I will tell you, I am a very sensitive person, like I really am. For one, I mean, Booktube is not easy. That's probably one thing that people don't realise is Booktube isn't easy, and it takes a lot of work to edit. Sometimes I've been up until like 5 o'clock in the morning after a full day of filming, editing, all of that. It is really hard work. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had times when I've just been really overwhelmed and stressed from it all, that I've just been like, I could just like leave this right now. And I mean, fortunately, I've talked myself out of it every single time because Booktube does make me happy, and talking about books and making videos, it does make me happy. I love it. But yeah, there's just been times where it's just gone a bit too much. And yeah, there were like, you know, some of the misunderstandings as well that happened in the past. They've also made me want to quit Booktube because I thought I can never get it right. Like, I'm never going to get it right. And it would make me feel very self-conscious about myself. And then I'd feel awful that maybe I've upset someone. Yeah, I just like, well, maybe the best thing I can do is just like leave Booktube and then I'll never have to upset anybody ever again. So like, yeah, I've definitely been there. Why did you get rid of your theme tune? When I started 2021 and in my goals video, I said I kind of want to move a little bit away from middle grade, but still, you know, predominantly read middle grade, but just make a bit more content outside of middle grade as well. For that to happen, I need like a little bit of a different direction to my channel. It can be really conflicting when I can have like a really steamy romance reading vlog, and then I've got, you know, the Hannah Montana parody theme tune as my opening. It can be very confusing. So I decided, I think it was back in January actually, that I would just delete it altogether and not use it anymore. I would always skip it, you know, when I was putting it in the videos, I would just skip it. I would just never watch it or anything. If I was like watching it back, you know, just to make sure there was everything right with it, I would skip it. And that was a sign where if I'm just skipping my own intro, then what's the point of having it? I know people liked it, but also people didn't like it as well. So I'm not a good singer at all. And that was partly why I had a theme tune, because I was like, this is funny. I mean, I didn't want to say it, but Guru Gossip did. I think somebody asked a question like, who has the most annoying intro? And I think just one person, but all it takes is one person, doesn't it, to get into your head. But one person said that mine was not funny and just awful. And I can't remember what it actually said because I think Guru Gossip has been deleted. So I don't actually know anymore what it said, but I just saw that and I was like, yep, I'm never using that again. That's another reason why I deleted it. Booktubers who can get it. Booktube crushes. Oh god, I have loads. Oh god, why am I saying these out loud? Kevin from Storycliff, of course. I mean, Daniel Green. Okay. I'm a sucker for Blue Eyes, and speaking of Blue Eyes, Jessie from Jessie the Reader, like literally the first booktuber I ever watched. The eyes, okay, it's the eyes. And Ben from Ben Reads Books. Okay, next question. What's a video you did that flopped but were expecting to go viral? I mention this every time because do you know the amount of work I put into it? But it's the Mamma Mia vlog. The Mamma Mia vlog where I put myself in as Tanya and Cher. Like, why wouldn't you want to watch that? And I interspersed that with personal dirty stories because I was reading a male romance at the time. And I did this, like, in my opinion, like a really like kind of clever segue into each musical number because obviously there's an ABBA song for every occasion. So when I was telling the viewer the romance story, I would segue into a particular song that related to the story, kind of. And I thought that was brilliant, but honestly, it made me demonetized for 2 months because I used songs in it, but like, it was worth it. There was green screen usage. It was a good time. One that I did do a little better was my Cheetah Girls vlog, where I put myself into like Cheetah Girls dance numbers, and I read all 16 books in the Cheetah Girls series. That one I wish had went viral because I read 16 books for one video, and I did green screen and all of that. And I was at work the next day as well. I did all the green screen dance numbers in one night. And I was at work the next morning and I was up until like 5 AM doing all of the dance numbers and stuff. But I also had to edit as I was going along because I was putting myself into the film. So I had to make sure that I was kind of in time and kind of doing the right thing. And honestly, just a lot of work went into that and it just didn't go viral and I'm gutted. I'm bitter about that. My best performing video was the one where I unhauled the books from the badly behaving authors from the Twitter drama. I mean, who knew? My motto is, film every video as if it's going to go viral. Would you rather get rid of all the books you own or start your booktube journey all over again? Get rid of all the books I own, honestly. I could not do this from the beginning again. Mainly because I hate having to repeat things. Just for example, video games. If I am in a location in a video game and I keep dying and I can't ever get past it, just repeating that level over and over again, I just DNF the game. I just stop and I never play it again. So if you asked me to do booktube from the very beginning again, no, I wouldn't do that. Last time you cried. Also, will there be more snuggly support sprints now that you're back at work? I hope so. I can't 100% guarantee it, and if it does, it might have to come back on a different day or just a little bit later on a Monday. But last time you cried. In all honesty, I cry every now and then because I remember Oscar, my family pet, who unfortunately passed away in September. And whenever I think about him, which is usually almost every single night, because when I'm left alone in my head, when my head hits the pillow, I'm awake for hours. And usually my thoughts just lead back to Oscar. And then I'm like, okay, let's cry now. So, probably a couple of nights ago. Okay, so getting into the personal life / not safe for work questions. How old are you? I'm 28 years old. Do you live alone? No, I am currently living with my mother, hoping to afford a place of my own very, very soon. I really want to move out by the time I'm 30. How are you? Really? I mean, wow, that is deep. I'm good. I'm good. I can't really quantify my emotions. Like, I don't really know. There are some days when I'm just numb. Some days when I'm just like, I feel things and I don't know how to say it out loud. There are days when I feel so happy and jumping up and down and I'm just cracking open a bottle of wine and making a video. I don't even know how I am, to be honest. I wouldn't know how to analyse my own feelings, so I don't know. I actually don't know. Most embarrassing secondary school story. One day the fire alarm went off and everybody in the building had to go outside. I was on my way outside and a bird shat on my head. And it was literally in front of the entire school because every single person in the school was outside. And I couldn't go inside the school to wash it off because the fire alarm was going off. So yeah, getting shot on by a bird in front of the entire school is my most embarrassing secondary school story. I was Nickie in Greece. I mean, I was Nickie in Greece. If you don't get secondhand embarrassment from just me saying that, then I don't know what to tell you. How much Prosecco is too much Prosecco? The answer is never enough, never, never. Would you ever reveal your sexual identity? 100% straight. Straight as an arrow. Who was your first crush? Did you tell them? Reader, I slept with them. So my first crush, so at secondary school, there was one person who was out and I did have a big crush on him. And, you know, we were in the same year, we had some of the same classes. And then it wasn't until after we finished our GCSEs, honestly this was such a long time ago, when we were on MSN and we were talking and we had mutual feelings for each other and one thing led to another. It only happened the once and nothing ever really came of it. We just went in totally different directions. We went to different colleges. But we follow each other on some things and I'm just like, I don't know. I'm still attracted to him. Worst date you've ever been on? Worst date you've ever been on? One date that stands, two dates stand out. One date, he was like a bodybuilder and he was very full of himself that I just could not get on with that. As good looking as he was and as incredible as his body was, I asked my friend to ring me while I was at the date. Like I texted them and I said, could you ring me? And then they did and pretended that there was some kind of emergency and I left. But the next one, probably, worst / funniest. And I mentioned this in my Mamma Mia reading vlog, by the way. But I went on a blind date for the university newspaper I was at. The person I went on the date with, I could just tell that his mind was somewhere else for some of it. But I also had a couple of my friends come to the date and they had these disguises on. They had big coats on with sunglasses on and It was hilarious. And they were like sitting like in the corner and they were like watching the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, it went okay, but there was just no chemistry whatsoever, really. We were arranging to meet again, but it was him who ended up texting me being like, oh, look, I just don't want to see her again, pretty much. And I was like, how rude. Like, obviously, it should be the other way around, obviously. And he said, like, I'm still too hung up on my ex. And I was like, okay, fair enough. And then I went on a date with his ex the week after. So, yeah. Favourite thing about being single. I'm a very independent person and I like having my own time to do things. Not having to split my time with someone is like a big thing for me. And I just don't feel like I could get as much done that I do now if I was in a relationship. So my favourite thing about being single is all of the time I can spend on myself instead. Biggest turn off, as I mentioned before, arrogance. Biggest turn on. Ooh, biggest turn on. Arms. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a sucker for arms. If I see somebody's arms, because all I can picture is like me being hugged by them and just like having like big strong arms, like that sense of protection and comfort. Oh my gosh. A low raspy voice, like almost like they're whispering as well, like kind of like in your ear as well, so you like feel the vibrations. Oh god, stop it. How big is your penis? 12.5 inches. Most embarrassing lie you ever told? How big my penis is. Top or bottom? I mean, I prefer to be a bottom. I can be pretty versatile, and the best sex is versatile, so yeah. When am I topping you? Honey, you couldn't top a sandwich. Let's be honest. How many people have you slept with? I'm counting. I honestly don't know. And before you slut shame me or whatever, okay, a little bit of real talk here. For the longest time, I felt so completely ugly. And I'm not saying like people who have these conditions are ugly at all. I just felt ugly. I know I wasn't ugly, but I just felt it. But I had like an underbite. I had teeth that was like all over the place. My nose was like a little bit more droopy because of my underbite. I felt like I had so many problems with myself that I didn't deserve any love. Like, I'm not asking for compliments. I'm not fishing for compliments. I'm not fishing for sympathy. This is just how I felt. And I feel bad for myself. For a lot of my teens and early 20s, that's how I felt about myself. And I just felt like I'll never have a boyfriend because I'm too ugly for one. Or I'll never sleep with anyone because I look the way I do. My confidence definitely did grow even before I had, like, you know, double jaw surgery. I had braces for a while. And my confidence was, like, growing more and more, especially at uni. So as soon as I ever got attention from a guy, I just felt like, why? Why do they like me? I would grab onto that. I would feel like if I didn't do something with them, then I'll never get that chance again. So that kind of started why I wanted to be in the company of men when I did. And to be honest, I probably did go a little bit too much with that when I got my surgery, and I just felt like, you know what, for the first time ever, I feel like I look okay. And I felt like I was, you know, worthy of somebody. Sorry, I don't know why I got emotional. Yeah, I feel so sad that I've spent so much of my life hating myself. So as soon as guys started to see me a certain way, I don't know, I just grabbed onto that, and I ended up sleeping with as many people as I did. And am I ashamed of that? No. No, I'm not. And I don't feel like anybody who sleeps with a lot of people should ever feel ashamed. As long as you're safe, and as long as everyone's consented, then it should be absolutely fine to do that. I mean, I haven't done that in a very long time now. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of lawnmowers? And I'm going to tie this into the next two questions as well, which is, can you describe the worst sex you've ever had in the most Gavin way possible, which is hilarious, and tell us your most dirty, filthy sex story. So I'm going to combine these three in one because, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm saying this story on a video. You're going to think awful thoughts of me. You're going to think, like, Gavin, like, why were you so mortified with Den of Vipers if you did this? Right, so I have mentioned this before on a live show. I'm sure it was like one of my drunk live shows where I've mentioned this. And again, this is not safe for work, so please leave if you don't want to hear the story. An experience I had when I was at uni, I went to a guy's house. Everything was great. Like, he was such a nice guy and I was so super into him, and he wanted to use sex toys, and he also specifically wanted to use anal beads. Why am I putting this on the internet? So I was like, yeah, sure, I'm up for anything once. Again, please turn off this video if you do not want to hear this story. Oh god, like, this is a Booktube channel, why am I talking about this? He put the anal beads in me one by one, and I was like lying on the bed on my back. And, you know, it felt great, you know, no shame whatsoever in people who use anal beads. Except, like a lawnmower, he pulled them out really quickly, and a bit too quickly, because when he did that, the suction did something where something exited my body. And I had no control over that. He did that far too quickly. He should not have done that too quickly. And it was his own fault, if you ask me. Anyway, he went to the bathroom, of course, to be sick, of course. And I just wiped my arse on his sheets and left. Like, I was so embarrassed. I was embarrassed because I even looked this up afterwards, and it's called the lawnmower, and people do that. Like, people actually do that. No shame to the people who do. But I did not sign up for that. And that happened, and I don't even think he maybe expected that either due to his reaction. That is my most embarrassing, worst, filthiest sex story ever. However, I didn't really say it in the most Gavin way possible. It would be with wine, but with a face mask as well. Yeah, I've had some weird experiences in the past, and honestly, I'm mortified, and I'm still putting this video up. When are you making an OnlyFans? Never. Or do I already have one? In the final one, can you show us your Instagram explore page? Right, let's have a look. Where is the explore? Oh yeah, there it is. I mean, firstly, you'll see, you know, a lot of shirtless men on this, to be honest. Oof. Okay. Can you even see me in this? Yeah, you can. You've got some bookish stuff. You've got a bit friends there. You do have some really cute guys on this, honestly. Some Grey's Anatomy. Oh, Sex and the City there. Come on, something like really, really hot and fit. Like, oh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. Sorry. Who else? Oof. This is literally, this is why I have so many, like, issues with my own image, is when I see photos like this. Oh my god. Look at that hair. I'm sorry, my hair, oh my god, you see my hair? My hair is getting longer, but could you imagine if I tried to get my hair to look like that? Oh, look at those bookshelves. Oh, that's all like Rick Riordan Presents. Oh, I like that. I mean, why? Can you just, like, arms! Oh, God. See, I'm on a downward spiral now. I am on a, it looks like he's about to take a shit. Like, and there is some bookish content here as well, to be fair. But, oh, God. Oh, man. Like, why am I not more like these? You know, this is why I have issues with my self-image. I follow too many, like, hot naked guy accounts on Instagram, to be honest. So that is my Instagram explore page. And that was the end of the video as well. I only had to take the toxic waste a couple of times. As I've said, I'm a very open and honest person. I don't feel like anybody should be ashamed of themselves when they're talking about sex or any issues, mental health, anything like that. You should totally be open and honest with if you're comfortable with it, of course. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you don't think too lowly of me. Is that the right word? Is that a word? I hope you don't think too low of me after some of those really bad stories by the end of it. I'm so sorry, like, you'll never look at me the same way again. And happy 2-year anniversary! But I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like if you did, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video if I haven't put you off already. Bye!